Hello and welcome to another edition of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. We got to start with the Boston Red Sox. They're the team that's currently playing. Trading deadline, I don't know. I was like a crystal meth addict yesterday. I couldn't get enough. I'm pressing that phone, trying to get,
refresh
to Twitter. Let's just talk about the deals that were made first. The biggest deal being the Hosmer deal. The Red Sox acquire Eric Hosmer for literally nothing. They will not pay him.
Scott, I like that. I like that picture we gave away. I mean, I know he's not the guy that we drafted. He was a power pitcher when they got him. I had high hopes for him when he came around. I think he might develop into something.
The problem is, Timmy, you were talking about Jay Groom. Groom came up when he was drafted out of high school in 2016, a guy who could throw 95 plus, got some arm injuries, also had some personal stuff going on. Now he sits at 88 and 92. He was a guy that most likely was either going to end up being in something in a deal like this, or a Rule 5 guy.
Yeah.
So that's unusual because usually you have
Timmy, the connection's bad. It's bad connection, Timmy. You go in and out.
I look to on the fastball, typically, right?
Timmy,
hopefully that's a little better now.
Okay.
Any better now?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay. Usually after Tommy John, your fastball goes up a mile or two an hour, right? I mean, that didn't happen with him, it appears.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't one of the top 10 prospects. They end up getting 2 prospects in the deal, Joe. Look, to get a Gold Glove first baseman when they have Frenchie Cordero booting every ball around, Bobby Dahlbeck, this was a nice big deal they made.
Well, it solidifies the defense, but basically the team is worse today than they were 2 days ago.
Oh no!
And they got them to pay his salary. I don't know how they pulled that off. I mean, it wasn't even a deal. It was just basically a gift. I mean,
Joe, I don't know what you're talking about. They're not worse than they were 2 days ago. First of all, they solidified the first base position when Hosmer's having a pretty good season, 270, 10 home runs, 40 RBIs. When they were getting no production at all from that position. They also acquired Tony, that Pham kid, who's not a bad ball player, hell of a lot better than JBJ. Throws JBJ on the bench.
Pham, geez, he looked terrible out there in the field. It might have been first game nerves, but he really did look shaky out there. He looked like Franchi at first out there in left field. That's why they had to put Verdugo in right because he's got no arm. Not much of a hitter. He's the guy at the end of his career. He's a minor leaguer.
No,
Hosmer,
what are you talking?
and you gave up your second best offensive player, and you gave up
What are you talking about? Second best offensive player? What are you talking about?
Vasquez.
Over Devers, Xander, and JD.
Well, yeah, third. I'll say third. JD's washed up. You know that.
No, what are you?
What's JD hit over the last 3 months?
JD's still like
230.
What are you talking about? He's who would you rather have, JD or Christian Vasquez?
Oh, Christian Vasquez. But even going forward, and I'd like Russ to be here because he'd know this more. But Vasquez turns 32 next week. Catches in their 30s. You don't see many. They all become first basemen or DHs. So I don't see much of a future for him. So that much I'll give Heim credit for selling high when he could,
He's so really high, Timmy, with Christian Vasquez. He got two pretty good prospects. One prospect first game already hit a home run in Worcester. It was a 2-month rental, and they got two quality prospects. I would say that's a good deal.
It wasn't quality prospects, Scotty. They were single A players.
No, they're not.
They're like in the top.
AAA, Joe. Come on, what are you doing?
Well, no, both of them were in single A this year.
They weren't. That's not true. What are you talking about? They're in the guys in AAA.
Here, but in with the Houston system, one was in low A.
No, you're confusing with the two guys from the Padres.
Maybe I am, but I don't think so.
Joe, you are. Come on, Joe. You know the line play. I know Sox prospect. Stay in your lane, pal. Okay. I'm not going to all of a sudden start talking to you about.
Don't talk prospects with Scotty.
Yeah.
Don't talk prospects with me.
Skate your wing, Tim. Skate your wing.
Skate your wing. This is like me arguing prospects with Scotty. I know nothing.
Jesus. Timmy,
I still don't. I think they got more than they should, but they didn't get a high-end prospect,
I don't know what this guy's.
I like the sound of this Ferguson kid. 55 steals.
I mean, you're telling me somebody out, unless Joe's weak and he's just falling off the cliff and nobody has interest in him. If I had a team that was in contention, boy, I'd want JD Martinez batting sixth in my lineup.
Well, no one did.
Apparently not, Joe. Maybe you're correct, and maybe everyone else is seeing what you're seeing, but I still value him pretty highly.
I think what happened is that they wanted to trade JD, and they were going to move him, but the pressure to have a competitive team and to keep the clubhouse, somehow intact, and not, and not have a complete revolt. And JD, is very important in that clubhouse. Forced them to ask for a lot for JD, and they didn't make a deal.
Listen, I don't know what Blo's plan is here. Either blow the freaking thing up. This team, as presently constituted, and with the prospects that we have coming up, I don't see us being in contention, Scotty, for the next 5 years. I really don't.
No.
I don't.
No
Where's the pitching going to come from? Where's the bullpen going to come from? I don't see it. If he continues to operate the way he's been operating, I don't see this team going anywhere. I told you at the beginning of this year they were going to stink, and they stunk. And I'm looking down the line here, and I don't see a lot of hope.
Look, well, here's the hope. You re-sign Xander.
Xander didn't sound too happy today. He doesn't like what Heim did.
I know. Xander's a baby. Know what Xander doesn't like? Xander doesn't like that he only has 8 home runs and like 42 RBIs, and he thinks he's going to get $35 million from another team.
He's not, although John Henry seems to have stepped in and told Heim to cut the shit with Xander and Devers anyways.
What, did John Henry lift his head up from like
got off the yacht.
Tea and crumpets over in England and pay attention to the Red Sox.
He left the cricket match, Tim.
Yeah, the polo match, though.
Oh, okay.
The polo match. I'm sure he owns a polo team too,
But would you guys agree? John Henry does not like to be criticized, and he's
no, and that's probably why he put the kibosh on any trades of Xander or Devers.
Yeah, because
Xander and Devers, I could see. But JD Martinez, if there was, and there's no bigger fan of JD Martinez than me. If there was ever a time to go for JD, this was the time.
No, I agree, but I don't think people like Joe was right about that he was showing signs of a slow bat. So the teams wanted him, but then teams ultimately made deals with other teams. Like the Mets got this rough kid out of San Francisco. They went a different direction. Red Sox wanted a lot for JD for a 2-month rental. They weren't going to do it.
I was surprised. I thought with the National League having a DH now, there'd be a big market for him. You know, maybe someone wasn't paying attention to what was happening.
I'd like to see what they turned down. That's what I'd like to see. Because
look, we have so many prospects right now. They just had a draft. You know, who cares if they got the 18th best prospect from the San Francisco Giants? Who cares? It's not important anymore. I think it is important to keep the team together and to actually have a competitive team the rest of the season.
Scotty, I got a question. You just said, like, I saw the rankings, like the 18th best prospect, not in all of baseball, just in that organization. That does not give me a lot of hope. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's why, you know, and especially for a rental, if JD had 2 more seasons under contract, then he would have more value.
But he was going to be a rental and didn't look very productive at the plate of late. So he has not been hitting, and he's definitely not been hitting for power.
Would you guys agree that JD Martinez and Xander Bogaerts have more value to the Red Sox moving forward in future seasons than they would have?
Obviously.
How old is JD Martinez right now?
What is he? Got to be like 35, probably.
Yeah, he's on the wrong side, Tim.
Absolutely, yeah. So, Scotty, as you say it, going forward to this organization, I really don't know how much value JD Martinez has right now.
I think JD Martinez is really a $12 million player moving forward.
I don't think so. I think maybe about 5. There's someone that people don't pay a lot for DHs, it seems. And that's all he is. He'll never play a position again. He's horrible when they do it.
And if he's losing his power, Joe, I'm shocked he's still here. Shocked.
Yeah.
I just don't think they could get enough. Evaldi says
Evaldi they asked a lot for. They were asking a lot for Evaldi.
And they should. That's a guy I want on the team.
I think
I go forward with Evaldi.
I agree. And Timmy, Evaldi wants to stay here. Do you think they re-up him?
I hope so.
They better re-up him. I mean, I don't know what the market for him is going to be like, but he's a solid big league pitcher. I'll take him on my team. You know, I'll put him in best case scenario, I'd love him like as the number 3 starter. You know,
Joe,
he hasn't had any. What's that? I just wanted to add to that. He hasn't had any significant injury problems. You know, the kind he's had in the past of 2-year, type things recently. And he did pitch good the other night.
He's been a horse, and he can pitch in the big games. He's shown that,
Yeah, I would think that they would try to re-up him. I'm going to say that's a surprise re-up before the end of the season. I think, look, he's getting paid $17 million. You probably I like the check. It's a nice number. You want to just same number for another 3-4 years, and that'll be the last contract I ever signed.
I think he's a good piece for solid rotation. Not your number 1, but a good piece.
I agree.
Not number 1 moving forward, but definitely could be a number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you just give away guys.
I'd like him to be the number 3, but who knows?
Especially a guy who wants to be here, and that's important.
Now, what did you want to say about Xander?
Xander, was he running his mouth the last 2 days because Cora can't?
Well, I don't know. That's an interesting take on that.
Yeah.
He's kind of the leader, the de facto leader of the team. And so when Cora can't, criticize his boss, let one of the players who is able to opt out at the end of this year, let him talk.
You know what I just can't understand right now? What is Hines' plan? I don't get it. Are we?
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have.
He doesn't, Joe. He seems to be some kind of a limbo. Are we rebuilding? Are we contending? We're certainly not contending, but does he think we're contending? Does he have this crazy hope that, this team is going to accomplish something? Because he's looking at something that I don't see.
He likes speedy young guys, that's for sure.
Look, we've already been told what he was wanting to do. Before the deal that the Hunter Renfroe deal was blowing it up. It was blowing it up. There was no other reason to make that deal.
Yeah, make a bad trade like that.
Then he keeps JD around and he keeps a couple of other guys around. I don't know. I don't.
Well, JD stayed around because JD opted in. They were hoping JD opted out.
Yeah, he wasn't going to make. There was no market for JD, so he had to opt back in.
Yeah, right. And moving forward, look,
and he had a good year last year.
We will change our tone on a dime if they re-sign Xander and re-up Devers. Would you agree?
I'm not so sure.
I'm not going
to do that because
we need so much more than that.
But look, Timmy, all of a sudden,
so much.
That would be a start to reassuring us. But I'm still. I might be in Hein Bloom's camp with Xander.
Look, you have Devers at third, Xander at short, Story at second, and Hosmer at first. That's a hell of an infield.
And it's solid. It's other than Grandpa Story there, they play a lot. They don't get hurt,
That's a good lineup, guys. That's a lineup. We've had worse. We've had a hell of a lot worse infields that have won World Series.
Oh, remember all those shortstop parade we had there for years after Nomar?
Lugo, Bellhorn,
Renteria.
We don't even can't even.
But we won some World Series in that parade, though, right?
Bellhorn played shortstop?
No, second base.
Yeah.
But so that's a hell of an infield. What we got to do is work on. So Timmy, would you agree that's a quality major league infield?
It is.
Okay.
Very expensive one though, Scotty. That would a very expensive one if they pay Xander.
Right, but you're getting Hosmer for free. Then you get the outfield. The outfield is the true problem.
Right.
Timmy?
Yeah, the outfield is a huge problem.
Huge problem because
huge problem. Getting the first baseman was a move in the right direction, Scotty. I'll give him that.
And Scott, you were right. They moved Verdugo. Unfortunately, they moved him from left field to right field.
Yeah, Verdugo. That's an interesting. He hasn't developed. This is who Verdugo is.
But he's not bad either. He gets a little bit. He's not. Remember how stupid Doogie was last year? He did pull the boner every game. Every game he had a base running error or fielding error. He did something dumb every game. This year he stopped that.
Something about him that I like. I don't know why, but I like.
I know why you like him. First of all, he's kind of a dirt doggish, and you like all the dirt dogs. Yeah. Second of all, he's a clutch guy. He actually comes up in the clutch, and he seems like he's ADD because in the clutch he seems to focus.
Yeah. Well,
don't
you think that's Bobby Dahlbeck's problem?
No,
when he focuses, he can play the game. When he feels threatened. Now you watch. Now that he's lost his job, he'll start to focus and play the game.
Verdugo strikes me like a kind of guy. When a big moment comes up, like I get a feeling like he might come through. A lot of guys I don't get that feeling with, but something about Verdugo, like I feel like he might come through.
Verdugo gives up so many up at bats. I can't believe. I watch almost every up at bat. So many of them just lazy. He'll roll that puppy over to the second baseman and just be fine.
He's been pretty good the last couple months, though. I gotta say, we don't see those quick 0-2s anymore.
But Scotty, I do agree, though. He should be the backup outfielder. On a good team, he should be our fourth outfielder.
Yeah, he'd be a good fourth outfielder. Play DH, play 130 games in some, multiple outfield positions.
But unfortunately, he's our number one outfielder.
I know
That's the problem.
Hey, can we get to this Jared Durant quote? Doesn't want the Red Sox fans to cheer when the Red Sox start doing good.
What did he say?
Jared Durant doesn't want the fans to cheer for the team when they turn things around because they've been booing them so much.
Yeah,
what players always have that attitude?
What planet? What the F gives this guy the balls or the cachet to ever say anything like that? Where is this guy coming from?
I don't understand. You mean the anti-vax Duran who play?
I know.
He's a weird guy.
Who loses balls. It sits on his butt and watches infield the back.
He's the Generation Z poster child, is what he is.
He really is. My God, he's embarrassing.
Yeah. You know who else I don't like? Because I don't like that Sanchez. Acts like he's a 20-year Hall of Famer type guy,
What is he doing on the team, Joe? That's embarrassing.
He is awful. He doesn't do anything. He makes some stupid plays in the field, and they laud him for it. And
give me a little background on this Durant kid. I mean, what has he accomplished? I mean, was he a star in AAA? I mean, what's the deal?
Oh yeah, star in AAA. I mean, but when he, up here, he's got to learn to hit better. He all his power is usually to center field him. And the way guys play outfield now, all they are long outs. Just one track power.
He's the worst defensive outfielder in baseball.
Well,
where does he come off?
Tommy Pham looked pretty bad last night.
Where does
he gets it terrible.
Where does Durant come off having the balls to say something like this?
I don't know. Where did he get off not vaccinating 3 games?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
him and Houck.
That's the sheer arrogance at that point. Him and Houck. These are guys who are fringe players trying to establish themselves.
And Tim, 3 years after the vaccination started, he said the excuse he gave was, "I need to do more research."
Oh, for God's sake!
Come on.
Yeah, and OJ's still searching for the killer.
Yeah.
We'll put them both in there. And Jared Durant research. He couldn't read a 2-word text.
Yeah.
I know, Timmy. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Look,
we got some bad guys on this team.
I
really don't like.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall in that clubhouse. It's going to be a shit show.
God bless Alex Cora for even keeping this job.
Idiots like this Durant around, who's a new guy coming in and acting like he's got 5 rings on his hand.
Look. Cora has held this team together. Cora has made amends, in my mind, for what he did to baseball and with the Astros and stuff. Because, any other manager would probably just walk out the door and say, "Good luck, here's the keys."
Yeah, Dusty Baker wouldn't put up with this shit.
Yeah, and now Chaim Bloom apparently has come to Houston because first of all, to apologize for Xander for everything, and to make goody with all the players. I mean, just talk to.
They're not happy. They traded the most popular guy in the clubhouse. Now it was a good trade in my mind when you think about it. Vasquez getting older. He's going to be, his contract was up. It made a whole lot of sense, but it didn't make sense in the clubhouse.
Yeah, they're not familiar with trades and how this works.
Yeah, well, it's the most popular guy. That's why.
But also, I think once they leave Houston, they're going to leave Houston now because they just lost the game. They're going to take off, and once they don't see Christian, they'll probably be.
They're all supposedly big leaguers. They've all changed laundry 5 times. I mean, not Xander and Devers, but most of them. We're rooting for laundry these days. Everyone switches teams.
Rep Snyder, Tommy Pham, all these crappy outfielders that Chaim keeps bringing in here. They've all been on 7-8 teams.
Well, JD's been on 4 teams, right?
Yeah.
I know Detroit and the Astros and the Red Sox.
Somebody offers them a nickel more in another city, they're gone.
Yeah, exactly. I think Xander's getting nervous about his contract. It's August.
Well, he
3rd.
should be. I don't think he Boris wants him to get 35 million. No one is going to give him that.
No way. They're not doing it at all.
He won't get outside of the Red Sox. I don't think anyone would give him a long-term contract for more than 20.
Hey, can I bring up a little subject here? Why weren't the Red Sox involved in the Soto thing? Why were they never mentioned as?
Yeah,
That's not Haim's way. Haim's that's not his gig.
23 years old, generational player. Why aren't we even in the conversation?
Well, Timmy,
I think we got to pay Devers.
Rafael Devers. Well, how are you going to sign Soto?
Yeah.
Where other teams do. Other teams have several of these guys on their team.
Look, so if they don't sign Devers, then that argument is a strong one.
Yeah.
With the hope, I mean, I think we all believe in the back of our minds that Devers is going to get.
We're not allowed to have Devers and Soto. That's not.
Very few
Other
teams
teams
have
do.
more than one big mega star. The only one I can think of is the Angels with Trout and Ohtani. Well, they haven't paid Judge yet.
You know, for the prices they charge over there, we should be one of those teams, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look,
Oh yeah, I agree, Tim. I agree.
I
Wholeheartedly.
love my prospects. I'm not giving them Cases and Mayer. Not a chance. No way.
For Soto?
Well, with Tristan Casas, then if Hosmer's here for 4 years guaranteed.
They can no. I mean, Joe, he's getting a minimum salary from the Red Sox. They can dump him anytime, and there's no skin off there.
Hosmer, right?
Yeah.
Hosmer's getting minimum by the Red Sox.
The other team's picking us. We're getting from the Padres, right?
Yeah.
They're picking up his salary.
He's picking up his salary, Joe.
It's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
I'm not so sure that's right. I think that sounds like one of those. Remember when
Joe,
Derek Jeter tried to.
No. Stop, Joe. Joe. No. They are paying his whole salary, Joe. I've seen it on multiple. Do not.
Oh, I am.
And what is how much is that salary? Like 14
They're
million?
paying 43 million plus over the next 3 years.
Yep.
The Red Sox are paying the minimum salary, Joe. We're
Like
not doing
700.
conspiracy theories.
They're picking up
not even close to being true.
What? How is that possible?
They wanted to
They're
get rid of
picking
him
up
for some
43
reason.
million bucks. So
Well,
yeah,
look,
because he threw a grenade into the Soto deal, I guess, over there, right?
Yeah, and
He
they wanted to get
refused
rid
to
of
be
him.
traded or something.
I think what
So
you
that
said-
so we
Well-
have a free first baseman, free.
Great.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so let's take what would be paying a really good first baseman or first baseman his account, and go after some guys.
Also, what Joe had mentioned last week, Red Sox made a deal with Mass Mutual for 10 years, $175 million
Yeah.
for a little patch on their jersey. I think the patches probably cost in total like $3. I think we can shift some of that money toward the guy who plays third base.
And you know how many checks like that John Henry has coming in every week to him?
Just think of all those signs, big signs, not little patches, big signs in Fenway Park.
John
And how much those
Hancock.
people are paying.
Coca-Cola.
John Hancock's taking down the sign.
Are they?
They're not going to be there anymore.
Well, that'll be replaced by another sign.
Somebody, yeah.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
Sam Adams will get even bigger.
And those got to be
Coca-Cola
5
balls,
million.
Yeah,
those
John
are-
Hancock's been there for over 20 years, Tim, and they've decided they are going to use their advertising dollars elsewhere.
Well, because
You think if the Red Sox were doing better, they'd be leaving?
Look, the Red Sox. I'm not going to worry about their revenue one bit.
No,
I'm
not either.
They have the third. Well, the Fenway Group is the third richest sports group in the world.
In the world.
The world.
That team, just by existing, probably increases more in value than 100 times what I'll make in a lifetime. Every
Tim
day.
and I
it
did that.
increases in
We did
value.
the math on a drive home from Fenway once, and the numbers were pretty good if you remember, Timmy.
Yeah.
Just think, if you get $175 million for a little patch for 10 years, what do you get for 10 years for a big sign like the Coca-Cola or the John Hancock?
And the
Well,
gold
that-
one. And this is no skin off your. It doesn't cost you anything. We're just
Yeah.
literally handing you.
$12 beers,
Yeah, the company
$5
pays
water.
to make the sign and have it put up too.
They make about $5 on every bottle of water they sell.
Look, they cannot. They have to sign Devers. Literally, they have to. Look, you would go down to 4th in this town if you don't sign Devers. You literally, I mean, you think the Red Sox are the Celtics not going to sign Jason Tatum?
Devers has them by the short hairs. I'll tell you right now, the situation the Red Sox have put themselves in, he's the one with all the leverage right now. He is the hammer.
Well, he's like he and Judge in New York really have some really nice leverage. Judge especially, he's going to hit 60 home runs. The Yankees would lose half their season ticket base if they don't resign him.
Well, how about Soto? You think Soto has even more leverage? He turns down a $450 million contract. The Dodgers give up all their prospects.
450 million guaranteed, Tim. He turned it down and said wasn't enough.
On the planet is there a person on the planet who has said no to $450 million?
Not that I know of.
One Soto.
Yeah, and he's going to get more.
Yeah.
So
he'll get that 450 over 10 years or 12 years is how it'll work out.
Get $50 million a year over 12 years.
No,
50 or 60, probably escalate.
He'll get about 42 million a year.
Yeah.
Over 12 years or 10 years, maybe.
So he'll make that same amount over with less years, right?
Yeah.
How many years was the 450?
15. So 30 year. But that, I can understand why he actually did tear that. Did not accept that is because he could get more than 30 million.
In 15 years that will be, or in 12 years that'll be chump change.
Yeah,
quite possibly, yeah.
The way the economy is going, anyways.
But you can look. He's like Joe said, he's a $40 million player in the new economy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so why would he play for $30 million? That doesn't make any. Would you do that?
No.
And now his leverage just keeps on getting better and better, right?
No. I would make sure I don't get hurt in the meantime.
No. What those guys do they take out an insurance policy.
I'd have a healthy insurance policy, right?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but that insurance policy must be pretty expensive too.
Oh yeah,
it's got to be real.
Oh my God.
Carrying it for about the next year, he'll carry that, right?
Yeah, he'll carry it. Probably, yeah. The payment's probably
6 months, whatever.
$5-10 million, but it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
That's what they do in pensions, right? Did you guys, Joe? So people who are going to get pensions, don't they take out insurance policies before the pension to ensure that if they die, that their spouse will reap some reward as opposed?
Well, they do it differently with us. We opt for survivor benefits, and you'll just get less per month.
Right.
But if you die, then the survivor continues to get that.
Yeah, you're right, Scotty. You wonder if in the first 5 years of that, if they buy some policy that would cover them.
That's what they do. They cover themselves. They're all going to do very well. But guys, I actually am fully confident that the Red Sox are going to re-sign Devers.
I am too.
But Scotty, that's a piece that we already have, and we're not doing well. So that doesn't give me a lot of faith. He's presently on the team, healthy, doing well, and we're in the predicament that we're.
But Timmy, that's not true. A month ago, we were playing fantastic baseball. We were at one point.
Yeah, but we were playing, School for the Blind.
Yeah,
we were playing Oakland and Seattle.
Scotty, they showed what they really are. That was an aberration. That was not this team. That was an aberration.
Look,
we still haven't won a series against anyone in our division.
I know, but look, if they make the right acquisitions, they're going to clear a hell of a lot of money off the books at the end of the season. A combination of stars, the Xanders, the Devers, the Stories with young players. This team could be in contention.
Talk to me about the next 3 prospects I'm going to see on the field for the Red Sox, Scotty. Give me some hope here.
Yeah, we haven't had any prospects that have come up and been successful. And since Devers,
what are you talking about? Cutter Crawford's pitching.
Well, I like Cutter Crawford. Yes, I'll give you him.
Who are the next 3 guys I'm going to see who are going to have an impact on this team?
Great question, Timmy. Casey is going to be up. He's going to be probably
First baseman, though, right? We already have a first baseman now, so that's the guy we don't have to worry about.
I don't know. Does he bat differently, and could he platoon with Hosmer?
That's what he will be. They'll switch back and forth at DH and first base. I think Bello, who's been up, I think Bello next year will be a different pitcher. I think they're expecting great things from him. I think they're Mata, the Mata kid, the pitcher, they're going to expect great things from him. I think those three guys are probably the next three prospects who are going to solidify this team and have a key role in 23.
I've got some questions on Bayo. He can't get lefties out, it seems,
He's not.
He has to develop a pitch to get lefties out.
He's not supposed to be up right now.
He shouldn't be. He should be developing that pitch to get lefties out down in the minors.
Yeah, and he pitched again today. I would hope they would send him down, and let him develop the rest of the season.
Well, now that Rich Hill's back, that he wasn't successful, but at least there's some innings there. They can afford to send him down for more seasoning, a regular rotation type gig, All
right, we got to go. Oh my God, we've talked like 35 minutes on the Red Sox. I didn't plan on doing that, but yeah, look, we had a lot of cover. So go to the Patriots. I'm hearing stuff from training camp that the offense looks terrible. This was the complete opposite of what we thought was going to happen.
Well, they changed. They've thrown away the playbook, and they're doing more. And they've gone to a different style, a whole different running style, whole different passing style. So it's going to be pretty much everyone's a rookie.
Is this because Josh McDaniels left?
A lot. Remember, he took the entire coaching staff with him. Every offensive coach is gone from last year.
What makes
but they changed it. Now they're going to run a zone running scheme instead of the and they're going to be running more bunch passes. Whereas Josh used to like to spread everyone out, and run pick plays and stuff.
But Joe, what makes Matt Patricia qualified to be an offensive coordinator?
Well, he isn't, but he was the offensive line coach for a couple of years back with Dante. So he's got offensive line experience, and that's what he's the offensive line coach. And let him call plays. That it works when you see a guy that they've never seen before. He has no tendencies. The defenses can't predict what he's going to call. Everyone knew what Josh was going to call. And so
I think you're going to see a lot of Mac Jones audibles at the line. I think it's Mac Jones' team already.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for this team this year, guys. I don't.
Wow, Timmy. Wow, all of a sudden
Timmy's usually the optimist of
I know,
us all.
right?
No, I just don't. I know what I saw the way this team was trending last year. I don't see a lot of changes in personnel. Mac Jones, I mean, are we going to get by because he has abs now? His moves are gone. Is that going to move the needle that much? He's still throwing to basically the same guys.
No.
Unless some of these linebackers come back that didn't play last year and light the world up. I see like a 500 team here.
Look, I think Parker's going to be a great acquisition. I always wanted a big guy like that. What N'Keal Harry was not, Parker is.
He was big though.
Bourne, I think, will be even better the second year in the system. Hearing really good things about Thornton the last few days.
Wait, have you noticed? I thought he'd be a returner. They have him working as a gunner every day. He's Tyquan Thornton. He's going to be the new Matthew Slater.
Well, Slater's still on the team, Jeff.
Yeah, but they're grooming him to be the gunner instead of Slater.
Oh wow,
he's been the gunner every day, 7 days now.
Wow. Yeah, this is too much.
He's too small to be a gunner. I know he's fast to get down there, but someone will knock his.
Speaking of Gunner, did Gunner sign with somebody else?
Yes.
Yeah. Who did he sign with?
It wasn't the Jets.
Is it in our division?
No, I don't think so. I can't recall. Philadelphia or Pittsburgh? It was down.
He was our only
I think
All-Pro
Pittsburgh.
last year, right? Was he our only All-Pro last
I
year?
don't think he made the All-Pro last year, 2 years
The
ago.
year
right?
before he did, yeah.
Yeah, our only one.
So how about this?
We signed the punter. We signed him.
And he had a
That makes
bad year
everything
last
better.
year.
He did have a
And
bad-
he's gonna get a lot of work this year. Let me tell you.
How did he must have had an injury because he was fantastic before that.
Yeah, he was just unbelievable. He was all world the year before.
I'm
And
gonna
then
bet you had
last
an
year he just nothing worked.
It had to be an injury, right? I mean, the guy doesn't.
Scotty,
fall.
what gives you hope that we're gonna see something different than we saw in the last 4 or 5 weeks of last year?
Look. The most important position in sports is the quarterback, and I really do like Mac Jones a lot. And I think he's a guy who's going to develop more and more. He developed his body over the offseason. That's what we asked him to do, right? That's what we wanted him to do.
Develop the head.
But he did. Look, he's definitely a smart quarterback. Okay, as a rookie season, I thought he played very well. Joe, I thought he was a top 15 quarterback.
I didn't think he was a top 15 quarterback, but that was only because he was a rookie.
Right.
But this year he could be a top 15 quarterback, I think.
He's
I
one of the
think-
most
I
active
really-
quarterbacks I've ever seen.
And I think his receivers, they're all, with the exception of Aguilar, I think they'll all be better this year than they
Yeah,
were
well,
last
just
year.
taking and Kill Harry out of the equation is a positive. That's
Yeah.
a plus.
Yeah, get him
Yeah,
out of the
yeah.
room.
But they have wide receiver depth. Problem is all third wide receivers.
Yeah.
So basically it's a pitching staff. They're all third starters.
What worries me is the talent that we're going against. There's some darn good teams out there. And you might look at the Patriots and say, okay, they're good at this, they're good at that. But I just don't think they stack up very well to the real cream of the league.
I agree. And defensively, Belichick has been pumping the tires on a lot of these guys who suck, who have never done anything in the league.
Yeah.
He keeps on saying these great things.
They
Explain
got
that.
a lot of good safeties. That's about all I can see. They got a lot of good safeties.
Yeah, you have Duger Phillips and McCourty. You have a quality safety core.
And a couple more, the kid, Jabril Peppers, and a couple others, and the kid they drafted. They both got the same name, so I never can figure them out. But one of Marcus Jones or Jack Jones, I forget. One of them will probably end up being a safety because he doesn't have the.
Marcus is going to be the one who's going to be your main punt returner. So, Timmy, to answer your question, the guy replacing Gunner is Marcus Jones. And he's supposed to be electric. But we talk too much about special teams when we talk about the Patriots. Nobody gives a shit on the other 31 teams.
Well, we give a shit when they get 3 punts blocked.
Yeah. They were
and lose
terrible
3
last year.
games as a result.
Terrible, right?
Yeah.
They were the worst. I can't believe they weren't the worst.
well, Joe Judge is back, but he's not in that capacity anymore. But for years, he had them as the number 1 special teams unit.
Yeah, we saw a lot of unpatriot-like things last year out of the Patriots.
Yeah, because they didn't have the talent, Timmy.
Yeah, the personnel, the roster was dreadful. Wasn't as bad as the year before, but it was pretty still.
And there hasn't been much turnover, Joe. Really,
So
well, that's one of the reasons why it should be improved. But I think they got a tough schedule. I don't see it being any walk in the park. If I was to guess now, 9-8, 8-9.
Yeah,
I think they're going to cut Malcolm Butler.
I don't think they will. But I'm thinking. Timmy said that maybe they'll cut Isaiah Wynn.
No.
Maybe no. Michael Onwenu has been that rookie. The kid they picked up this in the offseason has been replacing Onwenu over at right guard. Now, 2 years ago, Onwenu played very well at right tackle, didn't he?
What are you talking about? I thought Onwenu's left guard.
No, they've had him at right. The left guard is the new kid.
Okay. All right. So,
so maybe they're going to move Onwenu over to right tackle and Isaiah and they saved $10 million, $11 million.
Who plays guard?
The what's his name? Hamilton.
Who?
They picked him up this year, and I guess he's been getting a lot of first team reps.
Yeah.
In practice there, and maybe it's so they can move Onwenu back over to right tackle. He played very well there 2 years ago. Remember when he was a rookie and they threw him into the fire, and he did very well there.
Do you think Cole Strange has more to prove and has the most pressure on this team because N'Keal Harry was such a terrible, terrible, terrible human being and player that all of a sudden we put that
Scotty, what
pressure
I think is Bill Belichick is praying to God that Strange really is the real deal, because he's going to get crucified for picking this guy if he's a flop.
Completely.
Oh, they're gonna start him. No one pays attention to guard play unless the announcer shows the guy pulling and coming around and killing someone.
Well, we'll get the weekly Uncle Joe report on his performance. I know that.
Yeah, and I think it's too early to say, but they, they plug and play. They put him in there.
He better do the job. I'll tell you that. They're running over him. It's not going to be pretty.
They're running that old Denver zone. Remember Shanahan's old zone run?
Yeah.
Blocking schemes. They seem, I guess they've gone with that this year. They're changing over to that. So that's a big change. So it kind of helps that you got the line a bit in flux because everyone's got to learn a new scheme.
But also you have to be a little more athletic, the offensive line, right? They move a lot more. So maybe that works for Strange, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's your starter because you cannot.
I think he's taken every rep at first string left guard.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think
but he's not a kid though, right? He's
like 22, 23.
I thought he was like 24. I don't know why.
Kid. Does Belichick have pressure on him as a coach? If they were to go 5-12, would Kraft push him out the door?
You know what?
Let him have one bad year.
I got an opinion on this. I've been doing what I do for a long time, so I have pressure on myself, I wonder if he has pressure on himself to show that he still has it, Do you think he has that, feels pressure on himself? I don't think he cares so much about the pressure from outside. I think he's like pretty secure in who he is. I wonder if he has the pressure on himself to prove to the world that he can still do it.
Well, of course, because he's always being compared to Tom Brady. And well, that's a great segue. First of all, happy birthday to Tom Brady, 45 years old.
Oh, there was a little news about Tom. Did anyone see it?
Yeah, I want to know, before I forget, we got to talk about Bill Russell. And first of all, Bill Russell. I want to make sure to include that. A legend upon legends, truly one of the most important athletes and people in this town and in this country. Your thoughts about Bill Russell?
Well, my thought is that I had a life-changing moment my junior year of high school. It was required reading a Catholic Memorial, Go Up for Glory, a book that he wrote. I lived in a little isolated Irish Catholic neighborhood in Jamaica Plain. I thought, 99% of the planet was populated by Irish Catholic people. They went to St. Andrews at 10:15 every Sunday and went to Boy Scouts. That was my world, And when I read that book, it opened my eyes to a lot of things about, those of Black people in this country and the struggles that he went through and the class and dignity with it. To me, that's Bill Russell's legacy to me. I was not really old enough to see him win all those championships. I maybe caught the tail end of it. But this guy, he knew who he was. He answered to Bill Russell. And he answered to nobody else. And the way he handled the things that came his way in this life, what a human being he was.
Yeah, and truly deserving of the statue that is government center. Joe, you got to watch him play, right?
Oh, he was by far the greatest Celtic of all time. No one else is even close. everyone else is second string compared to him that's
Yeah.
ever put on a Celtic uniform.
Yeah.
He was just the ultimate professional.
He
I mean,
changed
he
it.
won every time he played. If it was do or die, he won. 21 penultimate games he played in, 21 wins.
Unbelievable. It's really.
Hey, you know when they talk about guys from previous generations, could they compete in the NBA these days?
Oh,
Is there even a question about Bill Russell?
Yeah.
No.
He still could outjump everyone in the NBA today. He'd make Ja Morant look like he was wearing lead weights on.
I think he was the 7th ranked high jumper in the world at one time.
He was number one.
Number one
in the U.S.
Olympic medal, right?
Yeah.
No, he could have done.
He could have. He could have. He won. He set the world record, so he was number one at one point. But he was a great hurdler, and he won the gold medal in basketball.
Yeah, and he ran the 440 or something like that at UCF too, I think, right? Or USF.
That shows you how good he was. USF. No one had ever heard of USF before Russell won 2 NCAA championships there. And no one has heard of the University of San Francisco since either.
So he won high school championships, he won college, he won gold medal in the Olympics.
And 11 NBA championships.
I think Quinn Buckner's one of the only other ones to do that. I think there's a couple. I think Magic Johnson maybe.
First black head coach in the NBA. It was obviously a player.
In all of professional sports.
What a great combination.
Professional sports.
I think it was to the mutual benefit that him and Red Auerbach had put together too.
Yeah, I was just thinking when I listened about the Soto contract this year. I can remember as a kid, Wilt Chamberlain it was the big deal then, $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year. Unbelievable sum. And Auerbach, the ink wasn't even dry on that contract. And Auerbach called up Russell and wrote him a new contract for $100,000 and $1.
Yeah, but they were great friends, Russell and Chamberlain. Russell used to stay over Chamberlain's house when they played.
Yeah.
So I realized that till recently that they were best friends because they were the main competitors. It was Magic, and funny how Magic and Bird became great friends too.
Yeah.
I think when you're at that level of talent, there's not many people that can relate to you.
Oh, and Wilt was the top. You got to be the three most. He's in the three most dominating players to ever play the game: Wilt, LeBron, and Kareem. That could really dominate a game. Those three.
Well, Michael Jordan, you ever heard of him?
Great player, but not a dominator like those.
Oh my God! I don't know, Joe. I don't even know where you are today.
Well, I gotta go with Joe a little bit on this one because they were so much taller than everybody else back then.
Yeah, they could control the game in different ways.
They'd throw the ball inside and there was no stopping them. They were unstoppable.
That sky hook of Kareem's,
Joe,
Michael had to work to score.
There was nothing you could do about it. You knew it was coming and there was nothing you could do about it.
Joe, you can't have a conversation about the greatest players of all time and not mention.
Oh, Michael Jordan's in my top 3.
Yeah, but I think what Joe's talking about is dominating a game.
It's a different thing.
Guys. You just didn't say. You said it was your top 3. You named 3 other guys.
Oh no, the top 3 most dominating players.
Oh, for God.
If I was saying the best players, I would put Russell and Michael ahead of those 3.
Scotty, I don't know if you might be just a little too young to remember how much taller those guys were than everybody else.
No, I understand. No, Russell wasn't.
Russell was small. Russell was the size of Rob Williams.
Yeah,
6'9".
Yeah, 6'8".
But he was like Rob Williams and had the big long arms and the jumping ability.
Yeah,
Chamberlain was just like Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh yeah, he was, and bigger.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything. No, Shaquille O'Neal's bigger than Chamberlain.
But comparatively,
he was fatter, but I think Wilt was wider, bigger shoulders.
Scotty, the guys he was going against were not nearly as big as the guys Shaq was going against. Wilt was going against much smaller people, So he looked even bigger. He looked even bigger than.
But one thing I would argue in saying there were there were less teams back then. So
Yeah.
Less competition. Yeah.
You only had 16 teams then instead of 30. So the talent was compressed.
And now we got to talk about, before we talk about Tom Brady and his cheating heart, he's a cheater. And this time he actually did cheat. This is worse than Deflategate. We have to talk about Vince Scully for a moment, the greatest sports announcer ever.
Are we not talking about Are we not talking about Johnny Most here?
And no, I love Johnny Most, but Vince Scully, 67 years broadcasting the Dodgers, and of course national baseball, all football. He's the greatest announcer we'll ever have.
Yeah, it was funny. I was listening on the radio today to the Red Sox game when I was in line at Dunkin' Donuts, and you could tell the announcer was trying to imitate Scully, the way he was, he just had that flow as he told the story, and the inside for 2-1, and they just keep flowing through this talk with that real stream. And I had to laugh because that's not the way he normally does play-by-play, but he was doing a Vince Scully imitation.
Did anybody hear that clip about him talking about the guy who killed the snake and they found a baby rabbit inside of it?
I watched that.
Yeah.
There's a fly ball to center. And then they took the snake and he chopped it into pieces. There's a ground ball to shortstop. And there was a live rabbit inside of the
It was amazing the way his mind worked. He could be doing 2 or 3 things at once and make it clear to you, too.
And the man was doing this at age, he was 80
90
plus when he was doing that. 80, and the guy did the games by himself the whole time. He had by himself.
That's really unbelievable. To
Can you imagine rain delays? The rain.
I always say, my second favorite team's always been the Dodgers, and obviously I've lived in and out of LA for 35 plus years. It's all because of Vince Scully. I just love listening to him do a baseball game. I could just sit there in the background and, like Timmy, do my laundry and just listen to Vince Scully. That's how great. They don't make guys like that anymore. A life well lived. All right, we got to go to Tom Brady. Seriously, Tom Brady is playing for the Patriots. We know he phoned it in 19. He literally threw the playoff game against the Titans. He threw that game. And we now know that he was talking to our competitor, the Dolphins, the whole time.
And it's funny, Bruce Beal was the connection there. He's a Boston guy. He's a big Boston developer. And he's one of the owners of the Dolphins. So Brady was hanging around with Beal in Boston. This is what I'm guessing, because he's a very prominent Bostonian. Even though he's one of the owners, he's the minority owner of the Dolphins. So they were in the same social circles up here, I'm sure. They maybe at the Brookline Country Club, whatever. And, I'm sure they became friendly. And I think that's how that whole thing started.
It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful because he compromised the team that year.
Do you think
especially when they treated him pretty good? Remember, they said to him, "Okay, we won't tag you. We won't franchise tag you." But so they did him that favor. They could have tagged him, and they said, "Okay, we'll do you solid. You've been a good soldier all these years." And then that's how he repaid them by going behind their back.
Oh, you got Patriot hacks like Curran and Breer who are just worrying about the desserts being put out at Gillette Stadium, defending Brady 100% unequivocally. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Well, was he that dissatisfied with the way things were going up here at that point? I mean, he has a right to be dissatisfied and unhappy.
But he doesn't have a right to be negotiating with an AFC
competition
in the middle of a season.
Yeah, someone you're going to be playing and competing against.
Does that sound like
conflict of interest?
Does that sound like a guy who's totally in for the season?
You know what? This guy has given me so much joy. I have a hard time bashing. Mm-hmm. I do.
Oh yeah, but still, he deserves the bashing for that.
I know. He probably, of all the times, he's, caught in flack about different things, and I've supported him 100% of the time. This might be one where he's guilty.
Well, he doesn't deny he did it.
Yeah.
And Miami got smacked with the first round pick, and
should have been
nice
more.
finds. And the
More.
Patriots should have got that pick. Is what should have happened.
Tom Brady was whining like a bitch the whole season.
Yeah.
Look, I know the development of N'Keal Harry. I'm not going to go to bat for N'Keal Harry, but remember how poorly he treated Harry during that season?
Yeah.
Remember how poorly he treated all the wide receivers?
Yeah.
Now, do you think Harry pushed him over the edge? Do you think he just said, "I can't take this anymore"?
No, he had already defected to the other side. I think by then.
It's the N'Keal Harry effect, as it's going to be known from now on. Anywhere N'Keal Harry goes, like what happens around him.
God help the Chicago Bears.
I
we've
know.
been saying it for 3 years that Tom Brady threw that game, that Tennessee Titans. And then, Timmy, you hate Kyrie Irving. Part of the reason you hate Kyrie Irving is that he threw a couple of playoff games on his way out the door with the Celtics.
I do remember that Patriots season. Like, I wasn't that upset to see Brady go, because didn't it seem like every other play he was throwing it into the stands that year?
He didn't look that good that year. He
did not.
He definitely, like, to bring you the point you're making, Tim. He looked like he was avoiding injury in that.
Yes,
all
every
long.
the second things looked like they were slightly off. That ball was into the sidelines.
Great point, because it was self-preservation, because he was going to get ownership to deal
saving
with
himself for another room.
Yeah, any chance of him getting hit, that ball was out of his hand.
I agree with you.
He threw the
Good
19th
point.
season.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he shows up at Tampa and he's hanging in the pocket again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't hang in the pocket once that year.
No,
Not
you're
once.
right.
This is a team that won the Super Bowl the year prior, and then, if I remember correctly, went 8-0 to start the 19 season.
Yeah.
Right?
He wasn't the same guy in 19. So, Scotty, you might have a very valid point here.
He threw the season. He threw it. That game against the Titans, he didn't want to be there. The playoff game.
He didn't want to be here that whole second half of the year. What is that quote? Happy 9-0 or 8-0 quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Look, there's been 3 taking of draft picks, and they all involve Tom Brady. I mean, come on. Tommy's not innocent in all this stuff. And we know Deflategate, he played a role in that. We know he was doing.
Well, yeah, but I don't think he deserved that. They did deserve to lose a draft pick, and for him to get 4 games taken off.
Yeah,
you'll never. But he was doing shenanigans.
You'll never.
Oh, okay. I'll go with there was some shenanigans, but like every pitchers, quarterbacks, they all like their balls a certain way. They all make sure they get their balls that way. He's no different from anyone else.
I'll never buy in on that whole thing. Never, ever.
No, I'm not going to buy in the penalty and stuff, but he did.
He did something, and I'm sure that
it should have been a $10,000 fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, right. No, but I'm just saying that where his heart and his mind is what would you go? All right, here's some question to end the show. Would you go into business with Tom Brady?
I would, yeah.
You could try.
I would, because he's been successful at just about everything. It'd probably be 100%.
I can't think of many guys who've been in the spotlight as heavily as him, who's conducted themselves. We all trip up here and there. I think, in general, I think he's a decent guy. Scott, he's so freaking famous. The guy can't walk down the street without being mobbed. I mean, he lives a different life than me and you.
He deserved 0 games suspension for Deflategate. Yeah. He deserves 4 games. The 4 games he got, he deserves this time for that.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah,
that's the irony of all this.
Yeah, I know. You're right. Yeah.
The point Tim's making is a valid one. Tom himself says the biggest problem he has parenting his children is telling him that this isn't real life. That the way they live, anything they want, everyone in the world at their beck and call, that's not reality.
All right, we got to go. All right, Fun show tonight, boys. Always want to thank Ian behind the scenes. Remember, sign up for Spotify, the Grandstanders. We're building an audience. You guys need to do that. It's important to mankind at this point. So, of course,
someone has to replace Vince Scully.
Exactly. All right, boys, we're going to be back next week, same time, same channel. Have a great night. My name is Scott Kerman.